Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Optimum. Well, John doesn't need any introduction. John McGrath.
Hey Matty,
Hello.
Good to see you.
You too. Now, we've got you on very limited time today. You have 30 minutes with you. I'll keep the clock there because you've got meeting after meeting, and thanks for doing this.
Pleasure.
Rather than talk about, everyone knows who you are, everyone knows your background, most people. But can I just talk about getting the best out of 2025? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people get excited at the beginning of the year and they go, it happens every year. I'm going to have my best year ever. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then they lose somewhere in the year excitement, focus. How have you stayed at the top of your game for how long now?
Real estate, 43 years.
Yeah.
So, look, it's a good question, and you're right. You'd probably say that 9 out of 10 people start with great intent and a new set of goals, and yet they don't achieve them. So first thing is, I think you've got to make sure that these are authentic goals that you love. It's got to be for you. A lot of people try and do goals they think will impress others, well, it might make their parents happy or their partner. You've actually got to have goals that are really authentically important to you, and they've got to be big. A lot of people, they're underwhelmingly low in terms of where they aim for. So let's take real estate, because probably there's a lot of people watching in real estate. If you're doing 25 sales, how do you do 125? Not how do you do 30? Because you can do 30 by turning up again in 2025 and you'll probably just stumble on 30. If you want to get to 125, you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to make some major changes in your life. And I find, there's a book out that's called It's Easier to 10X Than 2X, and I believe in that philosophy. If you're going to go for 125 sales, you've got to change who you're hanging out with, what are your daily habits, what's your rituals look like, what's your dialogue on the phone look like, what's your customer service feel like, what's your work ethic. All of those things have got to be changed because you're not going to stumble on it. So the first thing I'd say is, have you aimed high enough? 2 is, are these things that are really important to you, that you really love? Next one I mentioned before, it's habits and processes, because a goal won't be achieved with the same habits. What got you here won't get you there.
Yeah.
So, what got you to your current state of anything, health, business, finance, career, relationship, whatever it is, you're 1X at the moment. We know that because that's what you're doing. You're 1Xing. If you want a 2X or 10X, even better, you're going to have to make some changes. So what are they, and what are the habits and the processes you can wrap around it? So I was talking to someone recently, and I'd heard that they were kind of probably partying a bit too much, and I said to him, you got to make a decision. Is this good for you? And it's not, and he knew that. And I said, you've got to make some adjustments. One of them is going to be, if you're going to ring up the people that invite you out to the parties and say, I'm no longer in that loop. Because if not, it's going to come to Saturday night. You've got every good intention. You've had a good day at work, and all of a sudden someone says, hey, where are we off to tonight? And you're at a weak moment. So you've actually got to be proactively changing stuff to actually achieve the right result.
So with the habits, I was just thinking about that then. So, changing your habits is not easy. What do you do at the beginning of the New Year's coming? You're a pretty private guy. I don't think you're sitting there with 10 people around you saying, I'm going to do this and do it. What do you do? How do you go about it?
Well, I find
what does John McGrath do?
I'm constantly trying to renew myself, so I don't wait till New Year. But New Year is a nice time in our industry anyway, where things generally for most markets go a bit quiet. Mid-December to mid-January is a good time. So I read, I look at YouTube, I listen to podcasts. So I'm flooding myself with inspirational people, ideas, concepts, and off the back of that, I make better decisions about what am I going to do in 2025. And then I'm looking to learn, what do I have to adjust if I want to increase the business by this size, if I want to increase my personal performance around this? What are the things I'm going to have to do, and what are the systems I can wrap around that? So then I look at my ideal week. You've got to have a few pillar systems. What's your ideal week? What's your daily ritual? Who are the people closest to you? What are the meeting rhythms? Do you have a meeting once a week? Is the agenda the right agenda? Do you need the meeting? Should you have 2 a week? How do you align everyone? So for me, everything's up for grabs at any point in time. So it's not like I chaotically change everything in my life every month, but at any point in time, I'm open to someone saying, I reckon there's a much better way of doing that. And I think you've got to be open. A lot of people, their greatest challenge, Matty, is resistance to change. Well, that's the way I've always done it. Again, the person that I was talking to, and they had some belief systems in their mind that were holding them back, but when I challenged them, they weren't real. But no one had ever challenged him. And I could see him in the time he's saying, yeah, okay, you're right. So it'd be good if you're working with a coach, even better, or a peer or a mentor or someone, because you need to be challenged about, is that the best thing? Is that right? That belief you've got, like a lot of people in our industry, again, I'll default back to real estate. I know there's other listeners, but, they list a property for sale, goes on the market, the feedback about the price is not possibly what the vendor might want. Often the case, vendors want a bit more to start with. And yet a lot of agents, they resist telling the vendor what the feedback is because they don't want to tell them something that doesn't sound good. So, I had someone that I was speaking to recently and his comment was, quote, I don't want to smash the vendors. And I said, I don't understand. What does that mean? That was a belief system. What does that mean? Oh, well, I don't want to smash the vendors. And I said, well, how about this one? Here's my belief system. Every vendor deserves to hear the truth at any point in time. And whatever feedback you got from your appointment at 11 o'clock today, if it was credible, well thought through, you should then pass that on to the vendor. Why are you trying to keep the vendor in the dark until you have something that you think they might like to hear, when actually what they have to hear is all the way along the feedback from different people? Sometimes it's better than we thought. Oftentimes it's not what we thought. But so that was a change in philosophy, and I could see the light globes going on. So here's, I don't want to smash the vendor, which was in a sense people pleasing, was to every vendor deserves to hear the truth. And not halfway through a campaign when you've had 40 people after every appointment. Not to, there used to be a horrible word, it's still used, I get, but the agents used to say conditioning vendors. It's not about conditioning a vendor because that presupposes you might have told them a lie up front to get the business. This is about letting the vendor know what the real people in the market are saying about their property, how it compares with other things they're looking at. It's pretty straightforward, it's honest, it's a good conversation to have.
You know how you have that philosophy called clean business? Like we talk about it all the time. We run our whole company on it. We say, unless it's clean business, we don't want to, we just can't do it or don't want to do it. Do you think life's a bit like that?
Yeah, I think it is.
Do you think you're a clean, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you think a clean life relates to your results at work?
Yeah, I think it is because I think if you lie at work, you might lie at home and vice versa. I think you've got to say, okay, what does that look like? And we talk about clean business. So telling the truth to buyers and telling the truth to sellers is a fantastic foundation principle. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, what did I tell the vendor and what did I tell that buyer? Just tell everyone the truth and base your truth on research and credible information and keep everyone updated. That's clean business. And the same at home. Don't try and be tricky with friends and family and partners and whatever. Just do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So the excitement through the year, what do they do? Like, because people get weary at the end of the year, excited at the start of the year, and just trying to get through the middle of the year. Like, how do you maintain this? Like, if there's one thing I've noticed about you, it's your tenacity. Like, I've been a part of your life for a long time. And how do you manage your full year and at this consistent?
I think you're right. I'm very competitive, which came from a sporting background. So I was a pretty decent sports person as a teenager. And in fact, that was kind of what I wanted to do full time until I had an injury. So I think you've got to develop the competitiveness within you because for me, I've been doing this 43 years and I'm just warming up. I'm not fatigued. People say, you ever feel burnt out? I said, how can I feel burnt out? I'm living my dream. I'm surrounded by great people. I'm constantly challenged every day. I'm a competitive person by nature. I just love it. So I think that if you're competitive and you use business like a game or a sport, and I want to win, and I know sometimes I can't win every time, but I want to keep winning and I want to keep assembling the best team and I want us to build our market share and I want all of our individual people to grow and be better. And to me, that's just an exciting way to live life. And I know someday I'm going to have, like everyone, draw my last breath. And I don't want to die wondering about what could I have achieved if I'd have kind of kept going hard and kept. So I don't, burnout's not really part of my vocabulary. Now, that doesn't mean being sensible and having an occasional holiday or looking after yourself and not knocking yourself around of a Saturday night and having a bit of a break at Christmas. I think all that's good stuff, but I don't find I need it. It's just a pleasant thing to do.
I heard you say that years ago. I was actually going through a burnout a long time ago and you said that burnouts don't exist. And I was like, what are you talking about? And because I think in real estate especially, we sort of just expected it's part of the thing. So if an agent's listening to this going, on burnout or feel what should they be doing? Like
Well,
why are they going through that and you don't?
I think through burnout's either physical, mental, emotional. So physical could be that you're not looking after yourself, you're eating rubbish all the time, and you only look at some of the stuff that you do to see what's the right stuff.
Yeah.
It can be emotional if you're faking it, if you're putting energy into people pleasing as opposed to just telling the truth the way it is, the way you hear it. That can be tiring as well.
Yeah.
If you're living a duplicitous life, some people are having affairs on their partners, or other people are, pretending and putting all their money into pretending they're wealthy when they're actually not that wealthy, but they put effort into it and it's draining. So just live your authentic life.
Yeah.
I mean, life is amazing. And be grateful. And I know, Matt, you subscribe to this. I mean, I'm appreciative of that we somehow, by some fluke of DNA, we've ended up here in a great time in history of the world, in a great country, one of the greatest, possibly the greatest, in an incredible industry where we can have fun every day and make a great living and help other people achieve their dreams. And I think, wow, funny, Kelly, my partner, she started an orphanage in Kenya that she's running and she raises money for, and she does great stuff. And she was telling me when she went there recently, she stays in a little hotel just off site. It's like 20, 30 minutes from the orphanage. And the staff there, the kitchen people and the receptionists and the people that do the bed and linen, some of them travel 3 hours over rough roads on a bus every morning to get to work, and 3 hours home just to earn enough money to put some rice on the table for their family. And I just think, man, they leave home at 5 a.m, they get home at 9 p.m. Just to survive another day. And yet here we are complaining about a traffic jam, or complaining about, I had to skip lunch today. And I just think, man, do you not realise how fortunate we are, not just in real estate, but being Australians. And sure, some people got challenges, some people got physical ailments, and I'm totally empathetic to all of that. But for most of us, we are living a blessed life. So shut up about the weather, shut up about the traffic jam, just and contribute. I mean, in our industry, Matt, I know you're a bit the same. I hate the people walking around flashing their Rolexes and their cars. And I just think, what are you thinking? Do you actually think anyone is impressed by that, other than a tiny percentage of egocentric teenagers that kind of think they want to be the next you? Why don't you have a bit of humility with your success? Which is what you and I share this philosophy along with Jamie and so many people in our world. But be humble, be appreciative, be grateful. Don't pretend you're God's gift to the world when you're not. Add as much value. I mean, that's the thing of life, which is why. So maybe 43 years later, because if I do live that philosophy and I do try and help as many people as you do, and so that just for me is like, why would I get tired of that? How do you get tired of that? How do you get tired of helping people buy their first home? I can't get tired of that. How do you get tired? I mean, we got one at the moment that I'm seeing tomorrow. It's a divorce situation, and it's uncomfortable, it's tense, but the best role I can play is help both parties move forward without too much drama and achieve the best outcome, so they can both take the best outcome away from the transaction and help them both find somewhere else to go going forward. So whether it's a negative reason someone's selling or a positive reason, as an agent in our industry, we get the opportunity to help people. Oh, we're not saving lives, but we can still help people.
Do you think part of your success formula has been simplicity? Because a long time ago I heard, or you said, have one car you really like, have one house you really like. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Do you think part of your – because you seem to be and you sort of, you don't go out at night too much, you're home in bed. You've been very structured ever since I've known you. Do you think part of your life, I know you've got a lot going on business-wise, and that seems to be, a bit of like a sport maybe as well.
Yeah.
But your personal self is very uncomplicated.
I totally keep it simple, Matty. I've got Kelly, my partner, who I love. I've got my our two little dash hounds. I'm in bed every night at 8:30. No, when I say every night, most nights. I don't like going out. I don't like noise. I don't like late nights. So why would I
drink?
I don't drink. Why would I do any of them? So, we have a simple life, and, it revolves around our girls, our daughters.
Schnitzel and pickle?
Pickle and schnitzel. And we love that. And, I look at it and I think, God, these people that they've got 4 car leases and they've got a holiday home here and a something there and a whatever, and I just think, man, you're complicating it. Like, keep life simple. Don't have all these things that burden you. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a holiday home, by the way. I've looked for one. I haven't found the right one yet, but I've looked for one past with you, and I think there's nothing wrong with living comfortably. There's nothing wrong with being financially secure. There's nothing wrong with, looking after your family, and if you want to take them to Disneyland once a year, that's awesome, and if you want a little weekender up at Wombrel, that's beautiful. But just be careful you don't burden yourself with too much stuff, because you got to maintain it, you got to pay for it. It just becomes a complicated life, when in actual fact, there's an old cliche, we've all heard it, best things in life are free, but it's real. Catching up for a coffee in the morning with a dear friend, or having a swim before and then having a coffee, that's priceless. You don't need all this stuff. And again, people tell me, I've got 10 watches, they might have 5 up their arm and I got this and I just bought a Ferrari to put next to my Lamborghini, to put next to my Rolls Royce, and I just think, man, you can only drive one of them. Why would you need that hassle in your life? And then people become addicted. Well, I heard someone else got this other sort of car which is better than mine, so I better get one of those. And then someone's spouse, husband or wife said, oh, we should be doing that too. At some point, you've got to unhook yourself from all that drama and all that neediness and all that stuff, and just say, what do I really want? I want to surround myself with great people. I want to have a great business. I want to be the best version of myself I can. I want to be healthy and happy. I want to have a clear mind when I go to bed. So even little things like agents that tell fibs to get listings or to get deals over the line. I couldn't sleep at night. If I'd gone to sleep knowing that someone bought a house to me based on a false premise, that I hid something or I gave them a half-truth, I just don't want to do that. And I don't have to. People come back to me over the years because I tell the truth and because I'm honest with them. They don't come back to me for any other reason. And I think, in business, and you've been a great example of this, Matty, the best marketing is word of mouth, is having raving fans in your marketplace. You can put 100 million into social media and letterbox drops and billboards and bus shelters and all this sort of stuff. None of that's bad or wrong. But if every day everyone you deal with becomes a raving fan because you talk straight and you tell them the truth and you follow up on your promises and all those things that to me are like all too rare, people, not only are they attracted to you and they never want to go anywhere else, they tell everyone else they bump in, don't use anyone except Matt. Matt's the best. And that's where you build a business. So a lot of people say to me, how do I grow my business? Well, it's one conversation at a time, one open for inspection, one appointment, one phone call, one email at a time. That's how you build a world-class business. It's not about dropping something from a helicopter that floods an area with your face or having your face on every bus shelter, every billboard in town. Nothing wrong with those strategies as complementary, but if you're doing that and then you're not following through on your promises and you're not following through with all the obligations and you're telling some half-truths to kind of get deals over the line, it's crazy.
I had a question about personal brand, which you've almost just answered then. Did you set out to build, you have got the biggest personal brand in real estate business in Australia that I think anyway, and you're the king of real estate, but did you set out to do that? Did you have this? I think. How did you actually do it? If people are listening to this going, I'm Alex Jones in LJ Hooker and I want to be like John McGrath one day.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan around that or did you just?
I had a plan. Look, I won't even call it a plan because that'd be making it more difficult. I love serving people. I love when I meet you, listening to your story and understanding what do you want to achieve. I love the mental chess of thinking, okay, Matt's saying he wants to live in Wombrel. His budget's probably not going to get him what he wants, but I reckon we could help him by shifting him over to this nearby market. And I have that conversation and you say, I never thought of that market. I love that whole mental thing of helping every client. And then I love calling you up every day or two saying, Matt, I got one coming up. Have you had a look at this one? LJ Hooker's just listed this one. I haven't got it, but you should look at it. And they say, why are you telling me about LJ Hooker's listings? Because I actually want you to find a great home for your family. If I don't get paid for it, I don't care. I just love you ringing me up saying, I bought that house you told me about. We're so thankful and thank you because we'd missed it. We never thought of McMaster's Beach, but we looked at it and we bought it and I just want to thank you. And when I sell it, there's only one bloke I'm going to call. Now, I just love that whole...
You still get excited now. I can see it in your eyes, John.
And I don't care.
It's like you're actually the real estate salesperson, and I'm like sitting here going, he's looking for a house for me.
I was coaching a group yesterday in Sydney, and I said to them, I don't care if I'm this afternoon going to a one-bedroom unit at Potts Point or a $100 million waterfront in Wombrel or in wherever. I love helping people. And when I go to a property, I don't think, would I love to buy this? Does this property? I think about the person's going to buy this, how they're going to feel. And I remember back to when I bought my first home, and it was a dump. And it had an outside bathroom and had rising down, all that stuff. I didn't see any of that, to be honest. I just saw my first home. And I saw, what could this be like if I get a few mates together and we do a working bee and we clean up and we paint some walls and I go and buy some secondhand furniture and from a market and bring it in. So I get into that mode of how is that person going to feel? So I'm getting excited with a one-bedroom unit as much as I am a multi-million-dollar waterfront. And I think as an agent, again, I don't want to make this all about real estate, but I guess anyone from other industries can draw their own parallels. As an agent, people buy your energy. And if you're there, and you said it, Matty, this was one of the great things, many things I've heard you say you wrote down. I think you said words to the effect of, the energy you need is calm, excited and confident. I think there were 3 words. And that's right. And people say, how can you be calm and excited? Well, you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to be excited. People want to feel that you're passionate. They want to feel you love your place. They want to feel that you want to help them. But they also don't want to feel this is chaotic. So you've got to be able to shift between, okay, let's sit down now. I love it. I know we can do it. Let's just look at a plan. So you've got to be able to change gears and change energy. And you talk all the time about vibration. The vibration you're giving off in the room at different times changes it. So if I want to calm things down, I'll slow my speech and I'll pause and I'll spend more time listening than talking, and I'll probably lower the tone like I'm doing now, and all of a sudden
you feel the energy changed.
The room comes down, and people don't realise often, if they listen to you a lot, they will, because this is one of your philosophies, but they don't realise how much of an impact their energy can have on the room. Good and bad, by the way. Some people walk in, they've been arguing with their spouse and they're in a bad mood and they had the shits with traffic, which they shouldn't have because traffic's traffic. Listen to a podcast or ring some clients. Don't complain, you idiot. Just, shut up about stuff that doesn't matter. But they carry that in and then they try and pretend to be positive. But someone feels, you can feel someone if they're not aligned and they're pretending to be nice or pretending to like you or pretending to like the house. You've actually it's got to come from here. So when I see property, it comes from here. I feel I can't wait.
It sounds like you're more interested in the people than the actual house. Like when I say that, like you're more interested about taking care of them, getting in their world and finding a solution for them.
True. The people are the fascinating thing in all this. I've got to say I love property and design.
Yeah.
When and I get the occasional chance to come and see properties with you, and when I walk through an amazing home, I really feel I love it. And sometimes I feel, what would I do with it, and what could I suggest other people do with it? But the fascinating thing, how do you 43 years later love what you do when you've been doing the same thing year in, year out? It's because the people change daily. And sometimes their circumstances, you and I, Matt, have sold sometimes for clients 4 times. They've come and gone, bought, sometimes sadly get divorced, sometimes, it's not, they just upgrade, they get a career advancement. And situations change, people change, and that's the stuff I love.
How do you handle rejection? It's a very rejecting business, this one.
Look, I'm human,
what's
you're
your
human. I won't sit here and lie and say I love rejection, especially being competitive. I've realised that rejection is a common, it's a irresistible, unavoidable part of selling. If I want to sell 200 properties a year, which would be kind of one of the best in the country, I know that I'm going to have to lose some deals. I'm going to have people reject me and I'm going to lose some listings. And if I'm sensitive about that to a point where it actually disrupts me and puts me off my game, I'm not going to sell 200 properties. So I've got to be able to sufficiently position a loss or missing an opportunity or a deal falls over or 50 deals fall over as that's just part of the game, man. If I want to play first grade rugby league for Australia, I got to know I'm not going to win every game. I'm going to miss a few tackles. But over time, if I keep working on my game and my fitness and my visualisation, I'll win more than I lose. And if I win a grand final or if I captain Australia, whatever, in amongst all that, that's all good stuff too. But you can't just be focused on that. So, but yeah, we're all in the human race. We all kind of want to connect with people. We all want to love. We all want to be loved. And that's not always going to happen. So you just have to be pragmatic enough to detach yourself. And the other thing I keep thinking about is I only control what I do. I can't control your response. I can have positive intent. I can be the best agent of choice. I can have the best marketing approach. I can have the best track record. That doesn't guarantee you're going to give me your listing. So I have to be open to that. And I also know, because, you know, you and I have been around the block enough times to know sometimes you miss one first time around, you get a second. So the insanity of agents hanging up on vendor, I can't believe it, that guy's a ignoramus, he won't be any good, you should have given it to me. Versus saying, you know, hey, if it can't be me, Matt's a great choice, he's a great agent, in fact, he's a friend of mine, and I really wish you luck. And you did say you're going to stay in the area, so can I start looking around to help you find something? Because I'm sure Matt will sell it in the next few weeks. And I want to, and then people are amazed. They say, "Oh, I thought you were going to be really angry." I say, "Look, I can't mask the fact I'm disappointed because I would have loved to have represented you." But anyway, you had to make a decision, and I respect you've made one. But let's see if we can help you buy something. That just knocks people out, and people say, "Oh my God, yeah, we'd love to. Thank you very much." And sometimes, by the way, Matt doesn't sell it. And they're saying, look, we haven't had the luck we thought we'd have, and could you come and talk to us about this time selling our place because we haven't achieved a sale? So yeah, I think if you got to play the long game.
I was going to say, it sounds like the long game is your whole focus.
Long game, man. Yeah, I've been in this for 40 odd years, and I want to be in it for another 40, God willing. And what goes around comes around. And if I do the wrong thing, if I lie, rip people off, do something which is in my interest, not in. I hear agents often squabbling. Oh, what should we do here? I said, what's in the client's best interest? This. That's what we should do. And sometimes it's internal about who should handle it or this or whatever. And I just say there's only one question I have to ask: what is in the client's best interest? It's not in what is in John McGrath's, Matt Steinway's, yours, the company's, the brands. What is in the client's best interest?
I've got to wrap this up for you because you need to go. And I've got two quick questions. A lady texted me the other day, and her name is Yvette, and she's at rock bottom. She's prospecting, door knocking. She's a machine, and it's just not happening for her.
Yeah.
Any advice for her?
Yeah, so you got to work out if you're doing the stuff, if she's genuinely doing stuff, and I'm sure she is if she said she is, you got to work out how you're doing the stuff. Because I can make 100 calls to the same clients that you do, and I can get a very different response. Energy, vibration, intention. So if I'm ringing and I've got commission breath because I'm feeling desperate and under the pump, people will feel that. If I'm ringing because I would really love to update you on what's happening in the community and I'd love to serve you, and if, by the way, you've got any real estate questions, I'm here, and if by chance you've got something to buy or sell, love to help you. It's got a different energy attached to it. So I'd say you have to not only do the stuff, you need to do it in a manner that is attractive to the market. If you're making 100 calls a day and you're getting no response, over time, you can sometimes go 5 days making 50 connects, get nothing. The next 5 days you might get 10 leads. So this is not a linear, like 45-degree upward angle. So it goes like this. So you've got to keep doing it, but you've also got to be mindful. So if what I do, Yvette, I would have a coach that would maybe give me some feedback on what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. Because some people ring up, you think of buying or selling, kind of. Well, man, I'm in the middle of making dinner for my kids. I don't know who you are. I didn't even hear you. Rush your introduction. No, get off the phone. Whereas other people will ring at a different time of day and say, Matt, I know you're busy. If you got 60 seconds, just wanted to see if you knew that we'd sold a home around you. Great problem to have, but I got 4 buyers that are left over and they all want to live in your street, as you can understand, because you love the street as much as I do. Do you know anyone else that might be thinking of selling? Because I'd love to help these 4 families find a place. Now, when you say it like that to someone in a caring manner, they might say, well, funny enough, we were having that conversation over Christmas. We were thinking of doing something. What do you think mine might be worth? Well, happy to come around and have a look. Well, they might say, I saw the neighbour the other day, went to Bunnings and he's doing some touch-ups, and I asked why, and he said, we might be going to sell soon. So, but, if you're ringing up and it's about commission breath, you're going to get a commission breath response.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you shooting for? What's John McGrath shooting for in 2025?
Well, it's not just 2025, but moving forward, and we have this new wonderful relationship you and I spoke about with Knight Frank and with Bailey's Real Estate, who are now investors and partners in our business, which is incredible. Global network, some of the best brands. So I want to be the best real estate brand on the planet, McGrath, in a family of others, and Knight Frank will probably not like me saying that because they're probably the best real estate brand in the planet at the moment, but I don't care.
Well, you're partners, so it doesn't matter.
That's right, we're partners. As I said, I don't want to die wondering about what's possible, so I want to make all of our team more successful by helping our clients get better outcomes, by better service. Yeah, we spoke a bit earlier this morning about putting price guides on property, some simple stuff that our industry makes it hard. So I want to make it easy.
We're going to do that. Our team is going to do that as of this morning.
Awesome. So that was a conversation we had.
Great
none
advice.
of us are perfect. But, what can we do to make it pleasurable? Most people think dealing with an agent's like going to a dentist, and it is. I've got to find one that doesn't pump themselves up and full of ego. I want to find one that'll actually be honest with me, one that'll be transparent. Very few exist, which is why you're so successful and your team is so successful. So I want to make it transparent and easy and fun to buy and sell real estate, profitable. I want to create the world's best real estate brand. In amongst all of that, I want to keep raising my beautiful kids with Kelly, our little dash hounds, and live a nice life and be able to have some personal experiences. But I don't seek to get away from work a lot because I actually satisfy much of my human desires of connectivity, social. My social's at work. I love seeing people at work, and people come into the office and come out of the office, and like today I get to visit some of our offices, which is awesome. So it's about what's possible and how can I leave a legacy, and if the real estate industry, the day I die, if the real estate industry better than the day I got into it, which was in 1982 or something, I'll be kind of satisfied from a career perspective. And in amongst all that, if I lived a life of integrity and quality and I helped people, I'm going to be pretty happy. So I think I'm on track.
Last question. Do you think you'll ever be Prime Minister?
No. I regret writing that.
Please do.
For those that do, I actually wrote in one of the, I think it was the second book I ever wrote, maybe the first, I said, I didn't have a huge respect to politicians, and to be frank, probably don't to this day. No, nothing personal, but I just think this is such an amazing country and people need to have a vision for where we can take it. And we should be world best in everything. We should have best education, best hospitality, best tourism, best technology, best everything. And I still think that, a lot of these guys, they're kind of just trying to fight each other and bring down the opposition and all. When every time they stand up to speak, they're just trying to tear down and compare, Labor's no good and Labor says Liberal's no good. And I just think, give me some vision, man. Give me some vision and say, here's what Australia could look like in 2030 if we all get our act together and forget about parties. We should both be at parties, or all parties, there's more than two now, should be striving for the same outcome, which is a betterment of Australia for all Australians, versus how do I get my party into election for another 4 years? So, no, but I think I'd be too frustrated because in business I can have a coaching session and we can get some immediate results. I fear in politics, you come in there and you've got to have made, you've got to promise so many people along the way to get in that, your power base is eroded. So I think I'll leave that to others.
You'll change the country anyway. Johnny, I just want to say thanks for everything you've done
mate.
for us. You're a legend. You've changed all of our lives and we deeply appreciate you.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Johnny.